Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mythic for Operators. Today, we're going to be looking at callbacks. Now, this callbacks page can be accessed in one of two ways. You can either use the hamburger icon and click Active Callbacks, or you can click the little callback icon up here. Both ways will bring you to this page. Here we can see all of the currently active callbacks that are phoning home and beaconing to Mythic. On the left-hand side, we can see a blue and a red button here. The red indicates that this is a high integrity callback, or in the case of Linux and Mac OS, it means that it is in the root context. A blue icon here indicates that it is not in a high integrity context. So here we can see we have a red one with the user root and a blue one with the user Kali. Both of these, as we can see over here, are Poseidon agents running locally on this Kali instance. We can see the host name is Kali, our username, the PID for this process, the last time that we checked in, and we can see here the description pre-populated based off of the description for our payloads. Pretty easy to see that here. We can also see the C2 connectivity for this payload. So just like we saw in the C2 profiles, the little Wi-Fi icon indicates that it is an egress agent. If you click it, you can see exactly how that agent is connecting back to Mythic. In this case, we have this Kali Poseidon payload communicating over HTTP back to the Mythic server. Pretty easy to see there. Now with any of these, you can double click the column header and the column will automatically resize to the length of the longest element in there. So here we can double click IP, host, user, description, what have you. It will automatically adjust for you. Now with the IP field, Mythic allows agents to report back multiple IP addresses, but to have a bunch of IP addresses displayed in the UI like this isn't that easy to kind of view and navigate. So Mythic will just pull out the first IP address and display that to you here. If you want to change that or look at the other IP addresses, simply right-click this value and you can see the list available. Select any other one that you feel like is more appropriate to view, and Mythic will automatically update that value in the back end and display to you just the first value. With all this as well, you can of course click the headers and sort these values. Now Mythic knows more information than just this. If you right-click any of these headers, you can say show hide columns. Mythic is currently showing all of these columns on the right and hiding all these columns on the left. Let's say we want to know the process name and maybe we don't care about the PID. You can hit submit and the UI will automatically update and show you the process name here. Now if it gets cut off, just double click the header and it will expand to show the full name of the process that you're executing within. So pretty easy to see that there. You can also go through and for any of these columns, right click and say filter. Maybe I don't want to see that Kali user. I only want to see instances where we're root. So let me filter for usernames of root. And now we can say we have this little filter icon and only our root user shows. Well, maybe I actually want to see the others. I can simply delete that and pull everything back into view. Now, there are a bunch of other things you can do with callbacks. Clicking this little icon here opens up a new tab at the bottom for you to start interacting and issuing tasks. So this is callback 3, here we have callback 2, but that may not be the most intuitive way for you to reference what callbacks you're actually looking at. So for any of these tabs that are open down here, you can right click them and say set tab description. Now this doesn't update anything on the Mythic server, this only updates things locally for you. So this callback 2 is our root user context. So maybe I want to set the tab description instead of callback 2 to be high integrity. Now it's automatically changed for me. So this isn't a persistent thing. If you close the tab and open it back up, it will get reset back to the default. But you can go ahead and interact with any of these, change these, and there are a bunch of other things that we can do here too. So if we say hide callback, what that means is it simply removes it from this view until the agent checks back in again. So if I hit hide callback for 2, whenever the agent checks back in, it will automatically pop back up into our forefront here. So we can just see that happen. If you want to hide multiple callbacks, you can do the same sort of thing with hide multiple. Select all the callbacks that you're interested in. In this case, let's hide them all. Submit them over. You get a little progress bar showing you that what's happening. It's done. And now as they check in, you can see they're popping back up into view. So even if you hide something from this view, it's not gone forever. And we can also come back to this search operations button here at the top. We are automatically dropped into the search callbacks field, and we can see 3 callbacks. The 2 that we were just looking at with our root and Kali user, and that fake one that we created when we were looking at payloads. At any time, we can hit this little icon to restore it, click restore, and now if we go back to our active callbacks page, bam, that callback is back. It's never really gone. So if you want to go ahead and hide things as you're operating to make it a bit clearer and easier to track what's going on, don't worry about losing information. It'll all still be there for you. Now, there are a bunch of other things that we can do too. So there is an exit callback button, which will automatically issue the exit command to that callback. Now, of course, we don't just automatically do it. You get prompted, are you sure you actually want to do this? Because you will be killing your agent. You can also go through and task multiple. So maybe you have 15 Poseidon agents running across a variety of hosts. And for all of them, you want to run a PS command. You can do task multiple, and this will look just at the agents of a specific kind. So if you have Apollo and Poseidon and Atfel and Athena and all these other kinds of agents currently running, if you do this, you'll only be able to task one agent type at a time. So here we're looking at Poseidon callbacks. Let's say we want to task both of these at once. And here you can see the list of commands that are available in both agents. Then you can select whatever one you want to issue and issue that task. We can also go through and interact with a file browser and process browser. Now, the data that we see here for the file browser and the process browser is going to be aggregated and stored across all of the agents and filtered by host. So any tasks that you issue here will be within the context of callback 3 in this case, but the data could be filtered in from a variety of other callbacks. So it's something to kind of keep note about. We can also lock a callback. So locking a callback, you'll see change the little keyboard icon to the little lock icon. What that means is only the user that locked it and the lead of the operation will be able to issue tasks to that callback. Other operators will not be able to issue tasks. This is really handy if you have a bunch of people trying to operate and do things at once, and you need to make sure that nobody else is accidentally issuing tasks while you're in the process of doing something a bit more complicated. You can lock it and be sure that you're the only one that's going to be tasking things. When you're done, you can always unlock it and it will swap back to the keyboard icon, so you know that it is now unlocked and everybody can issue tasks again. You can edit the description for this callback. Remember, the description is automatically populated by the description of the backing payload, but you can always change that. So maybe this is going to be, instead of here, it'll be our Kali user callback. Automatically changed here, reflected for everybody. You can also go through to expand the callback and view just this one callback at a time. You can see that here, looking at just callback 3, all of its information and all of your tasking here on the right. This can be a bit easier. Instead of having the split top bottom view, now you have a split left right view where you can make and adjust room as needed for your tasking. Similarly over here, you can click and drag this and adjust any heights that you need for tasking and viewing data that's going on. Last thing I want to mention here is this view metadata. So just like on payloads, how we're able to view a lot of the information and configuration parameters and stuff like that, you can view all of that here as well. We click view metadata. We can see here we are in medium integrity. This is unlocked, all the IP addresses. We can see the OS and architecture, PID, callback information, all the same sort of stuff that we were viewing before, as well as all the backing payload information for this callback. So we can see that this was a Poseidon payload built for Linux. If we want to download it here directly, the file hashes, the configuration parameters, building, the callback information. So here we're just beaconing back to localhost where we have Mythic running, all this data available for you. And because this is a Poseidon payload, it's using Golang, and so you can't dynamically add in commands. So all of them are selected here. So pretty easy to see all that sort of information available to you.